Bonjour les étudiants. Euh, je m'appelle Omar et je suis le prof de français pour l'été. Enchanté. Um, Finally, we get to meet. I want to introduce myself in French as well as in English. My name is Omar and I will be your professor this Maymester. We have already been doing some work, but I thought it was important for us to go through the syllabus together in a video and also go through the day-to-day calendar to make sure that you have a good understanding of what the expectations are for the course. This is Beginning French 1. If you know nothing about French, you're in the right course. It's a Maymester course, which means that it's going to go by really fast. We're going to cover the same material that a regular semester covers, so make sure that you give the course the time in order not only for you to get a good grade, but also to get you prepared to hopefully take French 2 in whatever university you happen to be in. And if you're at El Centro, you know that we offer French 1, 2, and even French 3. And we would love to have you in a classroom or in an online class if that's possible. Well, what I wanted to discuss with you more than anything is the grading criteria, because you have KIA, as you know, and you also have eCampus, where you will submit open-ended kind of assignments. Let's just go over it one by one, shall we? So the workbook activities and the ebook exercises are all just very, very similar. The stuff that you're doing every day, those are the ebook exercises. These are exercises that are coming straight from the textbook, and they are usually oral in nature. So that might be the only difference between the workbook and the ebook. The workbook activities, those are the ones that you do. It's a big list of exercises that you do along with the exam. The reason for that is, by doing those exercises, we feel that that would prepare you to do the exam at the end of working through this workbook. Those days when you have an exam, they're kind of heavy-handed, because not only do you have homework to do, but also you have that exam. So give yourself some time. Like I said before, the workbook activities and the ebook exercises, I have already assigned all of that. So if you're able to work ahead, I would recommend you do that. So you have the workbook activities, those are the daily activities that you have, and you have the ebook exercises. The ebook exercises are the daily activities, and the workbook is the one you have when the exam, on exam day. Okay. You also will have 2 speaking tests and a final speaking test, as you see here at the bottom. The 2 speaking tests will be 5% total, and the final speaking test will be 5%. So these speaking tests, we will have Skype meetings, right? You will do the first one on your own on KIA, just to give you an idea of what that's like. You will need recording abilities, you will need a mic, and on this syllabus there are the technical specifications. What kind of browser you need to use, what kind of windows you need. If you have any problems regarding technical difficulties, or your computer is not working right, if you live in the DFW area, you can go to El Centro College and use the facilities of our lab, language lab. And if you need more information on that, just email me and I'll be happy to help you. But the technical requirements are they're not that eccentric. So everybody should be able to do that first speaking test online. And that first speaking test will be our midterm. Okay, so when you have your midterm that day, you will have the written exam and the oral exam. And these shouldn't take you more than 2 minutes. They're not supposed to be perfect. The point of it is not for you to read something. It's more of an opportunity for you to practice. and for me to see what you need or you don't need. Okay? So about the speaking tests that we're going to do one by one as conversations, that's going to come later. I'm hoping to do that through Skype because that's worked well for me. And if you don't have a Skype account, you can go ahead and sign up for one, and we'll be sharing our handles, and we'll be able to talk um, at the same time and do those speaking tests. Okay? So the first one will be our midterm, the first speaking one. All right? You will also have chapter exams, as you know, by looking at the day-to-day calendar. And those is just like it's like a bunch of questions put together. And it's hitting every point that you saw on the exercises for that chapter. You have an allotted time of 2 hours per exam. You can only access it and complete it once. So make sure that you give yourself the time. You can't really pause the exam, so when you sit down, you're meant to finish it. You'll have a midterm exam, which is not a comprehensive exam. That's just chapter 2. And the final exam, it's just chapter 4. You have 2 compositions that you will be doing in French. These 2 compositions you need to submit it through eCampus. I have already designed eCampus and all these links. So just go to compositions and you'll see composition 1, composition 2, and you have the instructions there. I don't really want you to rely on Google Translate. Please stay away from Google Translate. These exercises are so easy. It will ask you for your name. It will ask you to describe something. Je m'appelle Omar. Je suis de Dallas. Je suis grand. Je suis petit. Je suis moderne. Je suis traditionnel. You just describe yourself, for example, or describe your personality. Je suis réservé. But you do not need. Sometimes I have students that teach me new words because they even look up Google Translate. They say something so elevated that they come up with different words. It is a form of plagiarism. It'll be a sort of collusion with a machine. So please stay away from Google Translate. And it doesn't help anything. The fact that you're doing it alone, it's already a passing grade, and it only helps for you for practice. I'm not expecting perfection. I expect you to just be present, be a bit prepared, but not perfection. So stay away from Google Translate at all points during for all of our assignments. The final speaking test is a final conversation that we will have together, and we will have to schedule that as well. I usually schedule that for Sunday afternoons from like 6 to 7, because I'm thinking that's the time that most people are off work and it's late enough that everybody's at home. Okay? You also have a discussion board. The discussion board is done in English, okay, and it's worth 5% of your grade. And we will have a topic regarding the French culture. The French and the Americans, they have a love-hate relationship. They love each other, but they are fundamentally at opposite ends ideologically, and in some things. For example, the Americans value individuality and the idea that a lot of work means success and production is good. The French are more community oriented, and they would see an individualistic person in general terms, right? These are kind of stereotypes of a culture, which is really impossible to do, but there are these patterns. So they would see an individualistic person as someone that's selfish, right? And the progress of this person would be a detriment to the welfare of everybody. So these are just brush strokes of this love-hate relationship, right? They help each other in war. They are allies in war historically, but they have a different relationship to power and what that means. So that's the topic for this discussion board for this semester. Stereotypes, French stereotypes, American stereotypes, and you will complete that in English. To get that 5%, 2.5% you'll get just from answering some questions that are already available on eCampus. So you can go to eCampus now and participate now if you want to. But the discussion board is not yet due. So I give you about 6 questions and I ask you to refer to at least 3 of them in some form of fashion in a post. The other 2.5% you will earn by replying to someone else's comment. And just make sure that you keep it cordial and professional when you participate in these discussion boards. And lastly, we have a signature project, also in English. So the speaking tests are in French, the chapter exams are in French, the midterm and final are in French, the compositions are in French, the final speaking test is in French, but the discussion board and the signature project are in English. The signature project also has to do with what you learn outside of grammar and pronunciation about how to be more self-aware or more improving your cultural awareness. Is this course making you more culturally aware? So you do this in English. It's a reflective essay. I think it's about 400 words. I have posted already the signature project link on eCampus where you can submit, where you will submit your final draft and a PowerPoint presentation. And we'll talk about these things a little bit later on because these are due, I think, by I think you have your first draft due Wednesday or Tuesday. We will go over the day-to-day calendar in a minute, so I will make that clear today, and we'll talk about the signature project then. But yeah, so you will have the essay, the PowerPoint presentation, and you will have a teamwork grade as well, which is you will look at somebody's draft and make comments to improve it. And that's really the bulk of the course. As you see, the workbook, the ebook exercises, some of the speaking tests, the chapter exams, the midterm, the final exams, that you will complete in our Kia website. The compositions, the discussion board, and the signature project, that you will submit on eCampus. Okay. Let me see. So this is our website for eCampus, and I have already created the professor video where I will be submitting videos on certain grammar points that I think will be worth discussing with you. The course materials, in case I have a PowerPoint that I want to show you. Here's the discussion board. So the forum is stereotypes. Here's the instructions. You click on here and you create a thread. Well, actually we'll create this for you. Stereotypes. And everybody will be going to the thread that I created. Okay, and you will click reply and give me your comment in English about the questions. What are the stereotypes you have heard Americans say about French people? Have you heard of stereotypes people from other countries have of Americans? What do you think about these stereotypes? Are these useful? Accurate? What do you think about the role of stereotypes in our culture? I want you to refer to at least 3 of these questions. That's one thing. The other thing is you will need to reply to another person's comment to give you the full points. And this is the compositions link, where this is describe yourself, campus life, leisure activities, sports that you enjoy, use vocabulary from the chapters, And do not use Google Translate. Just use the stuff from the chapters. Composition 2, both of them are 100 plus words. Describe your family as accurately as possible. Okay. Here's the signature project. Here's where you will submit the final draft, and here you will submit the essay presentation. And the reason you have to submit it as a PowerPoint, it's the fact that we can't meet together and hear you present. So you will create a PowerPoint presentation, and you will here are the instructions on how to create audio, and you will submit that here, and I will grade it. And here's the link for the grades. And as I go on, I'll let you know when I have updated your grades. So, for the signature project in English about multilingualism in public services, professions, and careers. This is the English essay that deals with cultural awareness. Okay? So this is the topic. Should public services be provided in other languages in addition to English? Take a personal stand on the issue and defend it accordingly. And it's 350 words. You need to include adequate support. I suggest a source for you, but you don't have to use that one. And you only need one. You need to follow MLA and more details here. Okay. So this is the here in the signature project. This is where you submit the final draft. But before that, you will send the first draft. And the way you will submit that is in a class blog. So here, you click on Post the first draft of your reflective essay here in the form of a post. Click here and create a blog entry. And just copy paste your first draft. The reason why you're doing it in a public setting, it's because each one of you will pick one blog that does not have a comment, and you will post a substantial comment on grammar, on content. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Make sure that you take care of your commas. And here, this is an awkward sentence. This is 5% of your grade. This comment, this reply to just give another student some help. So make sure that that comment is substantial. Okay. So we have a lot of things that are going to be due. So this is where the day-to-day calendar comes to place. I think I already have it open somewhere. Okay. So we started on May 12th, right? You've already done the work for the 12th, the 13th, and Sunday. I have the same pages in here. But if you see on the, I will change this and give you an updated version. Here on Friday, you did competence 1, competence 2, competence 3, and for today you have competence 4. Okay, so the exercises that are now on Kia are for competence 4, right? And tomorrow you have the exam for the preliminary chapter and the workbook exercises, which are already available, and they're about 20 or so. Okay, so you have the chapter and the workbook. And then we begin with chapter 1. So preliminary chapter 1. Here you will do competence 1, competence 2, and here's when you submit your reflective essay draft on the class blog. Click on here, click on here. You work on Word or on any text software, whatever, and then you copy paste it here. And the deadline for that is Wednesday. And this Wednesday, that's all you have to do. You don't have any Kia homework. And if you're really fast with this, it's only 350 words. You can kind of work ahead. So you worked on competence 1, competence 2 on Tuesday. On Thursday, you will complete competence 3 and competence 4. And the class blog comment is due. So the next day, you will go back to the class blog, look for another classmate's post, and give them a substantial comment to improve their essay. Okay? And then Friday, you have the exam for chapter 1 with all the workbook assignments, about 20 or so, and so forth. On Saturday the 20th, you have the discussion board post, okay, and reply due the 20th, right? And this is about the stereotypes, okay? So you do your own and then look for another one to give a comment. Oh yes, I agree. I really like what you said here. I think the same, or here I disagree. Have you thought about looking at it this way? Cordial and professional. May 21st, chapter 2, and again, 2 compétences. Then you have your first composition due, nothing else but your composition in French, and that you submit on a campus. Then you have your midterm, okay, and you have your speaking test. The only one that you will do online, it's the midterm one, okay. Chapter 3, you have the other, competence 1, competence 2. Then on, is it a Thursday? Yes. You have the reflective essay, the final draft, and the presentation due. So you worked on the draft, you submitted on the 17th, you have until the 25th to use the comments that your classmate gave you to improve your final draft and to present and to do a presentation with audio on it. For the final presentation on PowerPoint, I will give you more details as we go along, but it's very self-explanatory. Just go to the syllabus and look at what it says. You put some charts, some pictures, and you talk. Don't put a lot of words, right? You're already speaking. So then you will do chapter 3, competence 3, competence 4, and your second composition is due Saturday? Yeah, the 27th. Then you have your chapter 3 exam with all of the workbook assignments. This is all on Kia. Then you have chapter 4, competence 1, competence 2 on the 29th, competence 3 on the 30th, competence 4 on the 31st, and you have your final exam on Thursday, June 1st. And the last day of class is Friday. I will try to give you those grades by then. I know it's a lot of information, and that's why I wanted to give it to you gradually, introduce you to Kia first, then work on the syllabus, and then tell you more about the assignments on eCampus. So I will be with you through all of it. I will be sending you announcements, but I want you to work with the day-to-day calendar and also trust your Kia assignment calendar because they are echoes of each other. Okay? They're not different assignment calendars. They represent the other one's information in a different way. So this is the first week where you have all this work that you've done, right? And then I've already put everything in here. This is your exam for the preliminary chapter, and these are all of the workbook assignments. So all of this is due. There are a bunch of pronunciation exercises that I cannot stress enough how important they are because we don't get to speak often, and I'm really looking forward to hear you and to make some videos to address some pronunciation issues. I really hope that we can get you to a level where you can take French 2 at ease, even though we're doing this in 3 weeks. Okay. So, and it goes on, right? This is chapter 1, competence 1. This is chapter 1, competence 2. Chapter 1, competence 3, textbook, right? Ebook. And then Friday you have your exam, and the S is for like student workbook. Okay. All right. Well, that's all I have for right now. Please email me if there's any questions. It's a lot of information, but I'll try to help you along by sending you announcements. And if you miss announcements or if you're unclear on where we're at, every email that I sent you, it's all here under announcements, and I believe it's the first thing you see. So, communication, communication, communication. I hope this is helpful, and email me if you have any questions, okay? Au revoir.